Edward Kenway and Matt Ryan are back. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced sees the much loved pirate story remade for modern consoles. Along with the classic content, the game includes newly voiced and newly motion captured scenes and missions. Edward Kenway's original actor, Matt Ryan, is back in the role. I sat down with Ryan to discuss Black Flag Resynced, the fandom around the game, and how it feels to be back in the Assassin's hood over a decade later. So, what's it like? It's 13 years later, back in the saddle. How do you feel about it?
I know, man. It's a strange feeling, and I think, like, looking at it, the game was released 13 years ago, but actually the work was done so it's like 14, maybe 15 years since I got the job or something. I'm like, man, I feel old, but what a pleasure, what a privilege, and what an honor to kind of come back to something that at the time you don't know how the fans are going to react to the game and to the character as well. And so I'm just over the moon to be able to come back, man. Yeah.
You touched on the fans there. Obviously, you've done a lot of work on the DC side, which has a massive fan base as well, but this game has a really, really hardcore fan base. Is that the thing that most people are coming up to you and talking to you about, especially in the years since?
Yeah, they do, yeah. And I never quite realized, I played I'm a gamer, so I played Assassin's Creed, but you just never realize, and what you do anyway is you focus on the work. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to let the external pressures come in. So you focus on the work, you do the best job that you can, and hope for the best, really. And you're only a small cog in a massive machine in any production, but especially with gaming. All the people, all the designers, the artists, the physics engine people, it's just massive and huge, and they spend years and years working on it, So, and I come in and do my bit and then go, but it's a real privilege to be back, yeah.
What was it like when you got the call to come back and do the new stuff? Because presumably for a lot of these kind of remakes and reimaginings, you might be here as an ambassador role, you were in the original game, but this is brand new stuff that you're having to conjure that character again.
Yeah, no, when I got the call, I think my response was, when?
Yeah.
Because I love the character. And then, obviously then I'm intrigued about, what is it? Is it a remaster? And, and I think what they've done, which is a really good job, is not only bring, the technology and the physics engine, having just played the game, which blew me away, up to today's technology, and but they've really spent time kind of making seamless the new stuff that we've put in, and that fills out the character even more, Yeah.
Was it difficult trying to, I don't know if you were trying to either replicate or a continuation of that same performance, because from what I played, if I hadn't played a lot of the original and didn't know what was new, I would have found it basically impossible to tell.
Yeah, I think that's what I think they've done a really good job with that, and the new scenes that we've done, it's the same tone, but it's really added to the character. For me, there was slight adjustments just in voice, the director in the booth, some of the older lines which we replaced, we play back and it's just about pitch, because my voice is a bit deeper and stuff, but it's like wearing a glove, man. You click into it, and even after all these years, you come back to it and it's just there, man. It's crazy. But I've played the game. I never completed it because I wasn't very good at the ships. Did have the idea once of contacting Ubisoft and saying, give me some cheat codes so that I can upgrade the jackdaw. I'm Edward Kenway after all. But I'm looking forward to playing it again, and I'm going to go through it all this time. And obviously I know everything that happens in the story as well, because I did all the motion capture for it. But yeah, it's like a glove, man. It's coming back to it. It's really, really cool.
Did doing this new content for the game kind of bring back any memories or trigger any emotions from the first time you did it, and how much things have kind of changed in that time?
Yeah, totally. I don't really want to speak about the content of the scenes, but there's a couple of scenes in there that Darby McGivitt, the original writer, wrote, and it just pulled me straight back into the place, and you get a little bit emotional about your work. You start to remember where you were at that time in your life. What girlfriend you were with, where you lived. All these things come flying back. In your personal life, but also in your professional career, and it just stokes those memories. But that's something also that just pulls you directly back to that place, and then you just remember how cool it is. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, man, I get to be like a pirate assassin again. Yeah.
Well, you touched on that, but I was doing some research, and outside of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, you don't have another massive video game role. I would have thought you would have wanted to dive straight into that, or well, obviously you did like a long time doing the DC stuff. Is it something you'd like to revisit?
It is, yeah. Like, it's funny because like I never had a voiceover agent.
Yeah.
You know, this came about because it was pitched as an audition for, and it wasn't that it was something I didn't want to do. It just, you know, it never kind of crossed my mind really. You know, and I was really lucky earlier in my career that, you know, I was busy a lot. So when this came around, it was a pirate TV show. And I did the first audition, and Kenway was from the north of England. So I was doing like some version of a Yorkshire accent or something. And then they invited me back for a recall, for a second casting, and then they said, look, we've got to let you know this is a video game and it's Assassin's Creed. And I played the first one, and the second one, I think. And I was like, that's great, man, that's really cool. Like, you know, a video game, oh, that's cool. And I thought it was just voice. And then they said motion capture, and I was like, another medium. That's even cooler, you know? So that was really cool. And then what was funny is, after I got the job with the audition, where he was from the north of England, when I flew to Montreal to start filming the motion capture, they were like, oh, your voice sounds different, you know? And I was like, yeah, well, I'm from Wales. And they're like, oh, where? And I said, I'm from Swansea. And they are like, okay, is that on the sea? And I was like, yeah. They were like, okay. And they made him from Swansea, which I thought was cool. And the other little parallel is cool as well. And I don't know if this was on purpose, but I left Wales when I was 19 to go to drama school at the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School. And Kenway left Swansea to go to Bristol. So it's just like those little parallels are pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. I liked it within like the first like hour or so when you're in Havana. Like, there's a reference to him being Welsh. It's very unique, a Welsh protagonist in a video game.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and like, you know, for me, you know, not many people in the world know where Swansea is, and it's a beautiful place. Do you know what I mean? And but also it really adds to the character as well. Someone who comes from a small province, you know, and wants to do better for himself and better for his wife, and then leaves to go on an adventure to kind of seek that better life for himself. You know, that works. So it's not just they did that because of me. You know, it fit the story that they were looking for Kenway. So
when you were originally doing your scenes for Assassin's Creed 4, was it the latex, the suit with the ping pong balls and stuff like that? And how has that changed to now? Because I know a lot of studios use like the big volumes, and it's all very different now.
Yeah, well, when I first, you know, a lot of people have said to me over the years, like, oh my God, like his costume's so awesome. I'm like, yeah, I never got to wear that. I'm in like a tight lycra suit, you know, you can't get away with anything. You get to know your fellow actors very well, very, very fast. And then you've got this camera in your face and you feel like a dog with a muzzle or something, you know. And I remember like having headaches from the original helmet. Going back to it, the technology has moved on so much. We weren't working on the volume, but just the placements of the helmets, and you're getting to see your character, you know, as is on the screen as you're working, and so things have moved on so much, and you can see that in the game when you play it as well. I mean, it just blew me away.
There's one thing that the fan base always talks about, and it's the idea of a live action adaptation of this character. You've talked about it before. Is that still something that's super interesting to you, or do you think that like obviously this entire character is you? Do you feel very protective over this version of the performance? You might want to not replicate that again? No,
you know, one thing I feel, right, is like, look, you know, how can you have ownership over a character, right? Do you know what I mean? And those things aren't my choice. I would love to do a live action version, and you know, that would have to fit the medium, in whichever medium that was in, and whatever is best for the story. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I would love to do a live action version of playing Kenway. So, you know, but all those things are out of your hands as an actor. So you kind of give it over to the gods, see what happens. But I also think that it would make a really good Assassin's Creed movie. Because one thing I love about the narrative of the character is he starts off as a pirate. And he starts off as a rogue and a peasant and a scoundrel and someone who's trying to better his life, you know, but he does have that good heart in him. And the journey that he goes on, he finds his moral compass. You know, so in terms of you being introduced into the world of assassins through pirates, that seems like a really good platform for me. I probably shouldn't be talking about what I think about that, should I? But I do. I just think, like, in terms of storytelling and point of entry for people, you know, outside of the franchise to come into the world of Assassin's Creed, you know, this story of Kenway is almost perfect because you're coming in through the world of pirates, which is wonderful.
Do you think that's part of the reason this game has developed quite a unique fan base that is outside of Assassin's Creed? That there's people that are just Black Flag fans and they're not fans of the rest of the series necessarily, because it has this kind of like rags to riches story that's quite different from the narratives of the rest of the series.
Yeah, I'm not sure, you know, and I can't speak for anyone else really, but that's what I love about the game, you know, that he doesn't start off as an assassin, and he and also the timing that they use as well. You get to play as the pirate, Edward the Pirate, for long enough to explore all of those needs and urges that we have to go and pillage and, you know, be a pirate. And then when he does find his moral compass, you're ready. And you're ready to be the assassin. You know, so I think that worked really well for me. But I also think that just universally, the game itself as a story, as you said, as a rag to riches story, and the beautiful setting in which it is as a standalone game, it's amazing. But it's got all the wonderful trappings of the whole Assassin's Creed franchise and all of the lore and everything.
You mentioned that some lines were re-recorded. Was that re-recorded as in overtaking the original recording of the game?
Yeah.
As part of that, was there anything that you were like, oh, I would like to have another shot of doing that? Like, I'd like to change this little performance kind of thing? And how tight were they about changing that stuff?
You know, I feel like, you know, as an actor, you always you look at stuff and go like, you know, or, you know, you end up shooting a scene, especially in TV and movies, and you're like, I wish I could go back and change that. But you have to give it over, you know. The ones that we did go back and redo, you know, it's not so much just about like replicating it. It was maybe there was a note from before back then that we want a little bit more something or a little bit less on a line or something like that. So those things were great to revisit as well. But also all of the new stuff as well, matching that my voice to that. But you know, it's still the same character. I'm still the same actor. So it's just like, as I said, like a glove. You know, you just slip back into it. But everything that we've added just adds to the character and to the story. You know, it's not just there for its sake to fill out content. You know, it's progressing things, you know, and gives more weight to the character.
Be commanded and march to make way. His cargo was animals out for a lark, a lark.